the installation of Architectural Essentials window lineals. Section 1. Picture framing. Begin by installing lineal starter strip around all four sides of the window, keeping them approximately 1/2 inch short of the corners. On vertical pieces, be sure to place the first fastener at the top of a slot and center all others 8 to 12 inches apart. As with all vinyl parts, fasten loosely, keeping about the thickness of a dime between the head of the fastener and the product. Next, take height and width measurements of the window, adding 7 inches to both. Using these measurements, cut the lineal pieces to length. You may find it easiest to cut them using a circular saw with a plywood blade installed in reverse. The bottom lineal is prepared first. Place a mark 7/8 of an inch in from the end on the locking leg side of the lineal. Do the same in the receiving pocket. Cut and remove the material, creating 2 notches. For a better fit at the corners, remove about 1/8 of an inch of material off the face of the lineal, beginning approximately 1/2 inch in from the outer edge. Repeat these cuts on the opposite end. Trim the foam back to the notches. The bottom lineal is now ready to install. Push the locking leg into the starter strip. You may need to smack the lineal with the palm of your hand. Next are the side lineals. Starting with what will be the top, cut the same 7/8 of an inch notches that you did previously on the bottom lineal. On the bottom end, mark a 45-degree angle on the face of the lineal, slightly off of the corner. Move back to the corner and place another mark, and continue this mark on the locking leg side. Now cut along the lines and remove the material. Cut tabs in the receiving pocket. These tabs will help hold the corners tighter. Notice again how the angle is located slightly off of the corner. The foam needs to be cut back to the notch and the inside of the angle. We're now ready to install the lineal. Fit the angle so it overlaps the bottom lineal, and the tab folds into the bottom receiving pocket. This process will be repeated for the other side lineal. Now adjust the fit and begin to fasten the lineals. Space the fasteners approximately 8 to 12 inches apart. With the side lineals, position one fastener at the top of a slot and center all others. Remember to fasten loosely. Lastly is the top or header lineal. Using the same method used on the bottom of the side lineals, mark and cut 45-degree angles on both ends. It's crucial that water diversion tabs be cut into the receiving pockets on both ends of this lineal. Once the angles and tabs are cut, trim the foam back to the inside of the angles. Now install the header, sliding it down over the side lineals and snapping it into place, making sure that the water diversion tabs are correctly bent down into the side receiving pockets. Lastly, fasten the lineal every 8 to 12 inches. Section 2. Incorporating the window sill lineal and the window crown molding lineal. Begin by installing the lineal starter strip around all 4 sides of the window, keeping them approximately 1/2 inch short of the corners. On vertical pieces, be sure to place the first fastener at the top of a slot and center all other fasteners, at about 8 to 12 inches apart. As with all vinyl parts, fasten loosely, keeping about the thickness of a dime between the head of the fastener and the product. Next, take height and width measurements of the window. Add 7 inches to the width, 6 1/4 inches to the height. Using these measurements, cut the lineal pieces to length. You might find it easiest to cut them using a circular saw with a plywood blade installed in reverse. We'll prepare and install the sill lineal first. Hold the lineal template along the locking leg side of the lineal. Align one side of the center tab with the end of the lineal. Trace the center tab. If you don't have a lineal template, the measurements are 1 1/4 inches from the locking leg and 7/8 of an inch from the end. Make a cut on the mark that's 7/8 of an inch from the end. Trim off only the short return and bend the remaining tab upward. Next, flip the lineal over and cut a 7/8 inch notch out of the receiving pocket. Remove this tab completely. Repeat this process on the other end. Trim the foam back so it's even with the tabs. The sill lineal is now ready to install. Push the locking leg of the lineal into the starter strip. You may have to smack the lineal with the palm of your hand. Don't fasten anything yet. Next are the side lineals. Starting with what will be the top, place a mark at 7/8 of an inch from the end of the locking leg side of the lineal. Do the same in the receiving pocket. Cut and remove the material, creating 2 notches. For a better fit at the corners, remove about 1/8 of an inch of material off the face of the lineal, beginning at approximately 1/2 inch in from the outer edge. Now for the bottom end. Place the large side of the lineal template on the face of the lineal, aligning it with the end. Trace the template, including the angle on the locking side. Flip the template over and continue your mark across the face of the lineal. If you don't have a template, the measurements are 2 5/8 inches by 2 5/8 inches. Cut along the lines. Widen this slot to about 1/32 of an inch. It will also make the pieces easier to assemble if you cut these sharp corners away. Lastly, cut a 7/8 inch tab in the receiving pocket. Don't remove the material, just bend the tab inward. Cut the foam back to the notches and install the lineal the same way you did the sill. Fit the tab of the sill into the slot in the side lineal, and the tab on the side lineal into the receiving pocket of the sill. Repeat and install the other side lineal. Now adjust the lineals and secure them, spacing the fasteners about 8 to 12 inches apart. On the side lineals, position one fastener at the top of a slot and center all the others. Remember to fasten loosely. The windowsill end caps are supplied in easily separated pairs. Using PVC cement, glue the end caps into the ends of the lineal. The header or top lineal is next. Mark a 45-degree angle on the face of the lineal, slightly off of the corner. Move back to the corner and place a mark. Continue this mark on the locking leg side. Cut along the lines and remove the material. Make sure to cut water diversion tabs in the receiving pocket on both ends. Notice how the angle is located slightly off the corner. After repeating this on the opposite end, cut the foam back to the inside of the angles. Install the top lineal. It's important that the water diversion tabs be folded down inside the receiving pocket of the side lineals. Lastly is the crown molding lineal. To determine the length of the crown molding lineal, add 3 1/2 inches to the outside measurements or the length of the header lineal. Cut the crown molding lineal to length. In this example, we're using a power compound miter saw. This could also be done using tin snips. Now, adjust the saw to cut a 45-degree bevel. Lay the lineal face up on the saw. Cut a bevel on the face of the lineal from the upper corner edge. If you aren't using a miter saw, you can place a crown molding end cap in the end of the lineal. Trace along the end cap and cut along the line using snips. Flip the lineal around and repeat the process on the other end. Next, cut about a 7/8 inch notch in the bottom leg of the lineal. This notch will eventually make room for the siding. Of course, repeat this on the other end. The crown molding end caps are supplied in easily separated pairs. Using PVC cement, place glue only on the outward face of the end cap. Hold the lineal so you can pull the foam away slightly and insert the cap. Now reposition the foam into the end cap. The foam will help keep the cap in place. You will likely need to apply pressure to the lineal and the cap long enough for adhesion to take place. Consult the cement instructions for specific recommendations. In this step, cut a notch out of the top receiving pocket equal to the notch you previously cut in the bottom leg. Trim the foam back to match these notches. After repeating this on the opposite end, you are now ready to install the lineal. Simply push the bottom leg of the crown molding down into the receiving pocket of the header lineal. Next, place a piece of flashing under the crown lineal down over the nail hem of the header and side lineals. This will help direct any moisture. Flashing should be placed on both ends of the lineal. Finally, secure the lineal by fastening loosely through the center of the nailing slots approximately every 8 to 12 inches.